two broadcasters.
Oh,
Happy New Year. Oh my gosh. Happy New Year from the two broadcasters, Sarah
wait.
Jenkins. Wait,
Welcome
what?
to the show. I'm your host, Lori Day. I am joined by my lovely co host, Sarah
Oh
Jenkins. Wait,
gosh.
that's not right.
Clearly. I is that what I'm supposed to be doing, Sarah? I f-
I
oh,
couldn't
we
resist. It was backwards day. I
well,
don't
we
know.
barely know when we're recording. I never mind. Now I'm scripty. But yes, I am Lori Day, and this is the beautiful co-host Sarah Jenkins, and we are together, the two broadcasters, doing a podcast like the two floating talking heads that we are right now.
Just so everyone knows, she did
So,
not know I was going to do that. I just totally threw her for a loop.
Sarah, I feel like being, getting thrown for loops is something that's of good exercise
I'm loopy,
because,
always.
well, we're going to be throwing a lot of loops, and so, you
Fruit
know,
Loops,
it's good to be on the pivot. I
as one must, always.
can we
Yes.
just say, Sarah, how's your new year coming in? It seems like it's coming in hot.
It's great. No, listen, I am pumped and psyched for a fantastic 2026. I must say that though every year is a blessing from the Lord, 2025 had a bunch of rough patches that I am now putting behind me. And even though some of them are following me into the new year, I am refusing to go into 2026 without total positivity that whatever happens this year, I'm going to make it a great year by my attitude and my, just my perspective, and I'm just moving forward, and I'm like, let's go. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Well said. I'm similar. Let's start this party off.
Similarly.
It's kind of a weird word. All of a sudden, it got sounded really weird in my head. But yes, I second those. I'm kind of tracking on that same thing. I think how some people have this whole like, do you have a phrase for the new year? I don't know. Some of that stuff starts annoying me. Okay, that sounded a little get off my lawn grumpy. I think it just gets it's just like everything else, no, it's like a great thing, but then if you read too much about it or something, it just sort of seems trendy, then I don't like it again. And then what I'm saying? But I think whatever works for folks is a beautiful thing. If it's a phrase you're hanging on to, a one word, I mean, I could come up with all of that. And I think this year, the one thing I'm going to keep locked and loaded is the fact that bad crap will go down. But
Yes,
my
'tis the
thing
life.
is, yeah, if I had to come up with one word, it would be rise. And if I had to come up with a saying, it'd be, I don't know. I'm just get out of your own way. I think, I just more and more, and I get a little bit better about it year after year, but then something comes up or goes down or whatever, and you just go, yeah, you could have done better there in terms of letting go.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's one of the hardest challenges there is letting go.
Mhm.
And let's just start it off like this, Sarah. I think to summarize my feeling about this is that I'm going to, and this is going to be in my blog, but I got this whole thing because, I work off of visuals a lot and I work off of metaphors, and a lot of times they have to do with driving. I know if anybody's listened to a few casts, you probably have heard a driving analogy. But honestly, I think that the whole analogy about just like you can't drive well if you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror. Like you are not going to drive well at all. You're not going to get very far. You're going to
Right.
run into something, or you're just going to get stopped. You know, it's just that analogy of like you have a rear view mirror when you drive that you are supposed to just check in with quick, but you're not supposed to be staring at that when you're driving.
Right. Right.
And a lot of times humans tend to think their goals are to move forward, but metaphorically speaking, they're still staring at a rearview mirror. And I've been guilty of it, right? A hurt, a disappointment, a loss, so many things, regrets, this, that, the other thing. I mean, give it a name,
Yeah.
is the stuff of the rearview mirror. And we tend to just forget to take our eyes back onto the road.
Yeah.
And so I think for my thing is I just want to just look ahead as much as possible. I do think it is important, and we talked about this, it's come up on several casts, that it's important to reflect. You don't just pretend things. You have to sort of organize things in your mind, and you need to reflect on things from time to time. But reflecting and staring and sitting with it and having dinner night after night with it and losing sleep night after night with it and is not required for reflection for the most part. And the longer you do that, the more time you've just wasted and realized you have not been looking forward or with what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
And so that really sums up where I'm at. I'm going to let the Lord go ahead of me more this year. And I'm going to try and stay out of my way. And I'm going to try and just keep looking forward, because it's just not doing any good to
Right.
ruminate over things that are done already,
Well, you said it right there. Because that's the key, because we're not fighting the battle. I mean, technically, yes, we're all in a battle, but like God is the one who fights the battle. He goes before us in battle. He's fighting, these things. We're to stand firm, in his word, in the strength of his might. And I
Correct.
think sometimes we feel like we've got to charge forward and slay the dragon. God's going to slay the dragon, so to speak, right? Our job is to stand firm in his strength. And I think when that perspective was kind of very, I would say not life-changing is not the right word, but I can't think of the right phrase that I want to use. But it was it helped my brain to really think about those spiritual battles, because every difficulty in life that we have, there's a spiritual battle going on behind the scenes that we don't see, but it impacts us in our physical life. And it's like Ephesians says, our struggle is not against flesh and blood. And that's, and whether you're a believer or not, people who are listening, I mean, I think it's just a really interesting way to look at it, to know that that we're not alone, and that there is more to every story, and there's more to every battle that's being waged and fought, and to know that there's a battle plan, right? And sometimes we feel like we have to just charge forward and like the Lone Ranger or something, and go out there and and just take it all ourselves, and that's not ideal, and that's not how it was intended. So I love that you said that.
Well, maybe it's getting older, or having the seen how that works when I let it, that I have my own proof. It's not something you can explain to somebody else unless they ask. You can try, but it's just, that when you sort of laid down your own sword, things worked out. And sometimes they worked out better than you would have assumed. Or sometimes they worked out by the process of letting go just became easier, or we're shadow boxing all the time. And I think that it's, we are so dead set on assuming we can handle everything. And it's just
Right.
not true.
We try to carry it all.
100%. And we feel like everything is hinged upon our action or non-action, or we have to say something, and you don't. Sometimes you just don't. And that's been a slow learn for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the key, though, for finding that inner peace, because let's just be honest, we're living in a clown show, and just because, like, and then there's you have personal clown shows. You got the world's a stage, you got your country's a theater, You got your own little circle of clown show circuses going on. Listen, there's a lot going on. And literally, we can do nothing about any of it
Yeah. Yeah. And
because
that's,
there's so many variables,
well,
anytime.
all that we can control, we've said this so many times, and we need to daily remind ourselves of this. We can control our own thoughts and our own actions. We are not responsible for other people because we don't have control over how they think and how they behave and what they do or don't do and whether they understand us or don't understand. Like, we do the best that we can.
Right.
We have to make sure that we are, you know, behaving the way that we should and setting that example and that sphere of influence that we have. And that's what's important. And if we can make sure that we are checking ourselves, that we're daily in check, that's the most that we can do. And it does go a long way because, like you're saying, we can't go change the world. We can't, force people to see things the way we see it. And we don't necessarily want that to be the
Right.
case either.
Mhm.
It's like we just get, I think, stuck sometimes in either we're trying to take it all on, like you said, or we're just discouraged because nothing's working. And we forget that we have every human being has a very big impact in their circle, whatever your circle is. And so making sure that you're the best that you can be, you're at your optimum physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that is where you can do the most good because you're going to feel so much better. You're going to have an impact on your family, on your friends, and then ultimately in your community as you go out from there. And I think it's just something that, let's start 2026, really focusing on how can I be a better person? What do I need to work on within me? And don't worry about that person next to you. And it may be aggravating. They may have tons of flaws, but don't focus on their flaws, because if they're not ready to focus on their flaws, you're not going to be able to help them with that. But you can help them when they see you changing and working on yourself and becoming a better person. It may inspire them to do the same. It may not. It may embitter them and they may walk away, but that's ultimately on them. So
well said. And I think that's just my tone. I think, and again, we've probably got old age speaking here, but it occurs to me, everybody gets caught up in the progress loop and the moving forward thing. And now, so don't hear me say that you should just sit still.
right.
And you shouldn't be working on all the things we just articulated, which is your own self, being a better, person and being better light for others, which can only come, true light's only really light. It doesn't come from, some artificial situation. People can see through that. So that's just like enough to keep me busy. You know what I'm saying? I got a plenty of flaws, so I have to stay out of that judgment seat. And I just have to remember that, well, just because their thing is different than my thing doesn't mean I'm a better person for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just gonna be over here working on my thing. But the thing about progress, and in terms of how a lot of people feel like they just got to keep moving up, and we're moving towards something. Listen, I've come to the conclusion that actually it's a countdown, not a count up. And that perspective is very real for me. So I consider my life to be on a countdown. And as the older I get, the countdown's coming. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's just a reality. We never know the day that we'll be, taken out. And at that point, that was my countdown day. Boom, you're down. You know what I'm saying? And it's helped me tremendously because it's like, I'm not worried about what am I supposed to be worrying about 10 years from now, 5 years from now, this, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to stay steady. I'm trying to rise every day, get some things done that I feel like are good choices for my day.
Yeah.
Make sure we're laughing, we're loving people, and we're just gonna be bettering somehow through those actions. I think there's so much more gain to be had through simpler consistencies than there are these major things sometimes. because sometimes the major things come and then it's not what you even thought it was, you know?
Yeah.
You just have to, we got to get more into the present. And we've talked about that so many times.
Mm-hmm.
2026, yeah, I could map out every day for this next year, and it's going to get completely like caught in storms, tornadoes, roadblocks.
Yes.
you know, you have this kind of general outline that gets you kind of excited, and things you find inspiration off of. That's good. But being like sort of legalistic about it, and that's bad, you know? And like you mentioned earlier, it's the mind body, soul connection thing, and I'm really just looking for spiritual maturity at this point. Um, the looks are where they're going. I'm not getting too the physicality for me at this point is to stay able-bodied
Right.
for as much as I can control that. And then there's going to be things that are outside my control for that as well. And you just got to go, okay,
Right.
should that come? Well, I'm doing my share.
Right.
Which, speaking of which, Sarah, I'm going to go back to the old starting the new year with the old, no sugar, no grains thing.
I'm doing it too.
And I know, and we mentioned, so it's like these two broads are going to be coming in on every week. With some reports, because I remember I did this last year, and we talked about it a little bit, because your body does start to reset when you give it like a whole month is a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
And I'm also incorporating into fasting once a week, so that's something I want to do this year. So that's just me, and I'm just kind of try and keep it moving, because coming off of working outside every day and everything, it's just like, man, I'm already feeling that lack.
Yeah, I got to make sure I hit a certain number of steps every week. I've got daily steps, but I've got like a weekly step goal, and I kind of slacked off on my weight training over the holidays, as one should. We should all take a break. So I'm going to get back to that, yeah, it's like just I'm pumped. I just did a big fast. Prolonged fasting has been something that I've been getting into a lot since last year. So I just did the first big one of this year, 3 days. Last January, I did a 5-day. And let me tell you, that was rough.
Yeah.
You really do. You cannot cold turkey a 5-day. You cannot cold turkey a 3-day. You have to work your way up to these. And this was the best 3-day that I've done. They're hard. That third day is like, that third day you're about to cave. You are ready to cave, let me tell you. But it's like I'm justifying, well, I've put this many hours in. It's okay if I just go ahead and break it. And then but I just stayed the course, and I was so proud of myself, that I did it. So
yeah, I might work into that at some point.
Because at this point, a 24-hour fast is pretty easy for me. I've been doing 24-hour fasts irregularly for a number of years. I've been doing them on a weekly basis for, I don't know, a couple of years now. So 24-hour fast, that I'm good. 36 is still like, I finally worked my way up to where I can do a 36 pretty easily, but they're still, when you pass that 24-hour mark, it's kind of like, all right, is there any food available? Am I allowed to eat now? But I can push it to the 36. So where I need to go now, I want to get to where 36 is as easy as a 24. And then after that, I want to get to where 48 is as easy,
sure,
as those. So it's going to take some time, but man, I'm not going to do the 3 days that often, but I had to start the year off, to reset everything and rejuvenate those cells, get the autophagy, reset my immune system, just get in there and just get everything cleaned out, in my body. And
that's
what it
it
does. Yeah.
And if anybody's feeling sluggish and not well, jump into this. You
Yes.
honestly can't go wrong, whether you're fasting or not. Jump off the grains, jump off the added sugars, jump off a bunch of the dairy, and just eat whole foods.
Yes.
And you will notice like your energy, it's just proof that people need to have their own testimony about the power of food. And because a lot of people, I think, just, and we've talked about this in separate casts, and I don't want to go too far down the pike in this, but again, you and I feel strongly about it. But there's so many people that feel the need is, like the pharmaceutical angle is necessary. They're just convinced that it's necessary, without, because they don't know what their body really can do. But you're the captain of this ship. No prescription is going to be written out for it. And when they are, most people don't follow them anyway. This is something you have to want to know for yourself. And my curiosity years ago got the best of me for, what would it feel like if I didn't have sugar for 30 days? What would it feel, whatever. And so then I did build up these testimonies about it, because it's like, oh yeah, okay. And that was before I even read all the things that I've read to date now. And that was before the fasting thing came into play. Now, I've not been, jumped on that a lot. I have jumped on, I don't normally eat for the first time until well into the afternoon, though. I don't.
Oh, so yeah. So you're doing intermittent fasting.
I am. But I usually, I'm doing at least 16 hours.
Yeah. No, that's great.
So that's why I think the 24 thing is not a big reach at all.
No, that is an easy goal. I think I want to say for anyone listening who's scared of fasting, who's like, I don't know if I could do it. It's like, you can work your way up to that. And studies are showing now that the 24-hour fast has so many benefits.
Mm-hmm.
You may not need some people will greatly benefit from more prolonged fasts. You've got health conditions, you've got things going on, always consult your doctor. But an average person who's really healthy, a 24-hour fast is going to give you a lot of great benefits. You don't necessarily need to go up to the 36 or even a 48. And I think that's some interesting things that I've been researching lately. And actually they're saying now that a 24-hour dry fast, which always consult your doctors. Please, people, you don't go out and do a dry fast just because you heard it on the show. I've never been a big proponent of dry fasting, Lori, only because you have to be careful. I do believe that it can be dangerous if not handled properly, but there's a lot of research to show the benefits of dry fasting because it's an accelerated fast. And so they're saying that you can get some of the benefits of the more prolonged fasts in just a 24-hour dry fast, because there's an acceleration to the autophagy and to the fasting processes. And so I did my first 24-hour dry fast as at the beginning of the 3-day fast. And so that was interesting. And actually, I did notice a big difference. Didn't get really thirsty. Made sure I had my minerals, and all of that. But yeah, it was interesting. So I think people are looking for different things. Start with intermittent fasting. Start with just having a cutoff time in the evening and delay your breakfast in the morning, and you can see a world of difference in how you feel, how your body moves, how you're able to think. That sluggishness goes away. I've been doing intermittent fasting since 2017. So I firmly believe in all kinds of fasting. I think it's great.
You're the fast broad. Okay. Listen, if you're the fast broad, but it just really, when you really deep dive into this stuff, it just, to me, I like things that click into my Spock part of my brain, that just goes, no, that just makes sense. Like, like the whole thing about if your body, like when you're sleeping, is completely dedicating its entire engine to digestion, it's taking away from other things that could be healing. Absolutely. That just makes sense to me, because digestion takes a lot of energy of the body.
Right. And anytime you take in protein and carbohydrate and things like that, you are eliciting an insulin response. Even if you're eating the good things, right? It's anytime you eat, you're getting an insulin response, and you're just constantly doing that, and your body needs to take a break. You need to give your body a rest, which is why we don't eat while we're sleeping, unless you're one of those people that sleep eat. Have you ever seen that? Because that's fascinating. That's a whole side topic. But
I've fallen asleep with red licorice in my mouth before.
There are people. I would like a picture of that.
I wasn't trying to night eat, but I fell asleep watching a film chewing licorice a time
I
or
just
two.
don't choke on it.
No,
I don't
that's the
want
thing.
I
I'm
don't want
surprised
that call in
didn't
the middle of the
die.
night. Yeah, it's like I don't want. I'm sorry, Lori has died from the licorice. I'm so sorry to inform you. She was watching her favorite show though, so she went out with a bang. I don't know, but
And listen, I come by it honest. My dad's like a red licorice addict, so
oh my goodness.
which I didn't know about him till I'm getting licorice for him a lot. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy.
That's crazy. But just as a side note, there are people who actually sleepwalk in the middle of the night and they go cook food. They don't have any recollection of this. They're actually
Wow.
asleep and they go cook food and make things in the kitchen. And it's
Wow.
fascinating to me. But and now I'm totally off the rails. But I was like, unless you're one of those people, oh yeah, our bodies take a break when we're sleeping. So if you have a cutoff time in the evening, even say 6 o'clock, mine's way earlier, but for most people, I think 6 is good, and you build up to an earlier time as you get older, I guess too, because when we get older, we don't. I don't know. I don't know if you're the same way as me, but it's like now the later I eat in the evening, I don't even feel good. But have a cutoff time, and then you don't eat breakfast as soon as you get up. Delay breakfast as much as possible, and you're already getting a good solid fast. And you can do a 12 to 14 hour fast. Anybody that's listening to this can do a 12 to 14 hour fast easily.
Yeah.
I mean, for some people it may not be super easy, but like you can get there a lot quicker than the longer fast, and that is going to have benefits in and of itself. And if you can work your way to 16 hours, you're getting autophagy benefits, the beginnings of autophagy, and that over time is going to help your body tremendously. And we're talking about detoxifying,
Which
and
means cleaning up the cells, basically.
absolutely. And letting your a proper sleep, letting your brain detox, like we can really improve so many things that are impeding us right now, physically, mentally, and emotionally, just through our health, through taking care of, how we're eating and maybe throwing some fasting in there. And like my family hasn't eaten cane sugar, Lori, in 2 years now. We came completely off of cane sugar. We didn't eat that much to begin with, but we came completely off of it. We don't touch it, but we'll do honey or maple syrup, occasionally some coconut sugar. But this month I'm not doing any of that. And so like I'm giving my body a complete break from any added sugar, period. I told you cheese because it's a highly processed product. I do make some homemade cheese that I could technically have some if I wanted to, but I'm going to try to avoid that. And just like nuts and seeds and the grains, the breads and the pastas and anything that's a grain, and just like give my body a break from those foods that even though what we eat here is all homemade, I fresh grind my flour, I make everything a sourdough, but like just giving my body a break from certain foods. I think it's a refreshing thing, right? To kind of start the new year off with a body that just feels ready to take on whatever this year is going to throw at us.
Exactly. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm in my armor up modality right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's coming. There's something's coming, and it's fine. I just want to be strong within my realm of doing that. Exactly. And I need to get some weight things going on. I've been having a little tennis elbow situation going on though. So
all right.
I'm being real careful of that right now. I'm just kind of trying to rest, and which for me means I'm not lifting weights, but I'm
You
still
do some squats. There you go. Get your squats on.
I'm still doing yoga, and I'm probably doing stuff with my elbows. Whatever. But I'm just kind of taking it easy because I really do want to landscape again this season if I'm able-bodied. So, I don't want to be the old girl on the club that's not pulling her weight. You know what I'm saying? Because then it's not cool to be the old gal on the crew. All right.
You are anything but old. Let me tell you.
Well, all I'm saying is, numerically, we're racking them up. All right.
You are the most youthful person I have ever known, and I love you for it. It's amazing.
Well, thank you, Sarah. But it's a choice, kind of, I think. Now, granted, I feel like, God gave me some good energy. But I don't just, I do pay attention. You know what I mean? So I am what I am, and most of
Yeah.
it was probably unbeknownst to anything I've done. But I am aware that I have been given good energy, but it doesn't mean I'll always have it. It doesn't mean, I love life. I love interacting with people. I love asking questions, which reminds me, Sarah, we got questions episode coming up
Oh
this month.
man, stay tuned, everybody. Listen, if you're not following us regularly, like if you don't have the follow button on your podcast platform of choice, like lit up, check marked, whatever, you want to make sure you don't miss this coming up. We got questions episode because we got questions.
Yeah, was that in 2024 or 2025? I think it was in
We've
2024 we did
done
a We
two of
Got
them.
Questions. Have we?
We've
Okay.
done two of them. Yeah, I think
Well,
this one's going to be my favorite because
they've always been good. They've always been good. And just to give you a little teaser, we kind of take the mixed grab bag of the clown show that's happening on the world stage or whatever, and we ask our questions.
I got more questions than we got time for. This might be like a triple parter. Not really, but
no, it could be because any one of our questions is a big topic. But we're gonna spitball them out there to just kind of get some feedback on people. Who else has got these questions? Because we got questions. Don't be thinking you're out there on these world stages, just coming in hot. And we're all just going, oh, that's that, because that's what they said it is. No, there's a lot of questions brewing.
And questions help to hold people accountable. Okay, I will move off of that for now and save that for the next.
Yeah,
cast.
we will. But I'm just getting a little primer, if you will.
Little primer.
So. Primer. Okay, so we're bodying up, Sarah. I feel like this is a coincidence that we're doing this at the same time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I just felt the need. I really didn't even make it like a New Year's resolution or something. I was talking a few months ago, I told Ethan, I said, I think I want to do that thing we did last, I don't remember when it was. We did it last year.
It was in your birthday month. It was in like November, wasn't it?
No, because the year before, I feel like we did this like kind of leading up to going to Portugal or something. I think it was in the spring.
But was it? Okay. I got it mixed up.
Well, that's fine because don't take my word for it either. It's not been, I feel like it hasn't been a year, but close. But I've mentioned this a couple times, and after the holidays, and I did a lot of the cooking and the hosting and all that. I just kind of went, it's time,
Yeah. Yeah. And I just wanted to start the year off with something that was going to put a good, like, if you're going to go into anything, go into it the best that you possibly can. You want to feel good. You want to just know that, like, okay, we're not rolling in. Like, I'm going to come in, I'm walking through the door. Here I am, 2026. We've got this.
That's it. That's it. Another thing I'm not going to do this year, Sarah, this is a hard one for me. Okay. Is I'm going to try and stop worrying about my light being too bright for some people. That's just something that it's just like, again, I've said this, I'm not for everybody. All right. But for the love of Pete, if you can't tell that I'm just having a good time,
yeah,
that I'm a little extra and I'm a little extra curious and I'm a little extra like to laugh and whatever, I'm not going to stop laughing, or I'm not going to stop questioning, or I'm not going to agree with you just because you don't get me. I cannot tell you how many situations I've put myself through by doing that. And a lot of times, Sarah, here's the real catcher. I don't think I'm doing that, right? I'm not intentionally trying to do that, but I can be the chameleon-esque type person who, has come off of the long-term people-pleasing recovery program.
Uh-huh.
And so
I'm still in recovery for that.
Same. That's my point. So just when you think you've kind of like, oh man, no, I'm far removed from the kind of people pleaser I used to be. It's like, yeah, but you still getting it.
Oh, I'm like, I'm still in the treatment center. I think you're further along in the process maybe than I am.
I don't know.
It's hard. Well, it's hard. And
it is hard.
And along those lines, like I think something that I'm still trying to work towards is to not let it bother me so much when I'm not someone's cup of tea, when someone has a problem with me and I haven't done anything that I can figure out. Like I can't find anything that I've done. And if I have, I'm like, I want to make it right or whatever. And it's like, I don't understand why this is happening or this. And it's like, I feel like when we do that, it goes back to a couple of shows that we've done, Lori, where we're putting the focus on ourselves. And I want to take the focus off of, you know, what can I do better for this person, or or why don't they like me, or what, like, I want to shift the focus away to how can I serve others? What can I do for other people? How can I be of service, in my home, in my community, in my congregation, like what can I do to help other people? It takes
Right.
that focus off of me. And it's that all those insecurities that we all have, and some of us may have more than others, they tend to like stagnate us, and they bring us down. They can be very discouraging. And it is so easy to dwell on those things that we're very insecure about. And there's reasons why we have these insecurities,
For
there's
sure.
so that's part of the rearview mirror thing too,
I
Lori.
was just
It's
about
that
to say.
you have to find a way to like shift your focus from that and go, okay, this is a problem that stems from X, Y, and Z. I can't fix that right now. It's not all about me. I'm not a bad person. I'm trying to do some good things. So instead of sitting here and dwelling on all the things that I wish were different, where can I make a difference to the people in my life? What can I do?
Right.
And so when you shift that focus on helping others, serving others, being that kind of person that you know that you need to be, it does help. It's not easy, because I mean, it's daily work, because I just find myself so many times like wondering, well, why this or what, all the questions. And I'm trying now to remind myself that's more you than other people sometimes, right? Like that is more me and my insecurities and my overthinking. And it's less about other people, because those other people, they're not dwelling on this. And if they like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't. It's okay, because we're not for everybody. We're not everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
And if somebody has a problem with me and it's something that I can remedy, then great, I'll try to remedy that. But a lot of times it's nothing that we can remedy, and we have to just accept that and move on and go, okay, I'm wasting time in this situation. I have to put my feet in one in front of the other and keep going. And what about the people who need me, or people that I can really truly help or benefit in some way? Like I've got to move on from the things that I can't change, have no control over. And so, yeah, I think I'm with you, soul sister. I think going into 2026, there's a lot of, and you talked about spiritual maturity. There's a lot of maturity all around, right? Human maturity, spiritual maturity that needs to be happening no matter what age or stage of life that any of us are in. We need to be moving forward to how can we continue to mature as human beings in the best way possible, working on ourselves to bring that about, because we have got to stop this. We have so much emotional immaturity right now in our society, and it has been deliberately, coerced very slowly through there's so many things that are bringing it about. And if we want to take charge of things, and we really want to make a difference, and we really want to take back control, right? Or whatever, people's like, we just feel like we're not in control of anything. It's like, well, we do have control over, like we said, ourselves. And we can take some of that back by maturing as individuals and by growing as individuals and becoming the kind of people that can live in a civilized world and can relate to each other and help each other and have civilized conversations, and conversations that actually make a difference, because we're engaging intellectual thought, and we're exchanging ideas, and we're not sitting here judging or comparing or breaking down or being triggered all the time about things. Like, okay, sometimes it's a choice to be triggered. I understand that we have triggers, but sometimes it's a matter of, I'm not today, Satan. What's the phrase people use all the time?
Yeah.
We are not going here today. I am not going to be that person right now in this moment. So whatever I have to do to calm myself, or to be, to be a normal, thriving human being, like I am going to that's the fight. I think that's where the fight is. The fight has got to be to take back our strength and our boldness as human beings, that we can exist in this world and do big things. We can mature, we can grow, and we don't have to sit and, be at the bottom level of things, for lack of a better term.
No, that's so true. That we did it, the whole thing on immaturity, because societally we are moving backwards in capability of problem solving and critical thinking and not giving away. And like I said, everybody's got some kind of triggers. And if you have the most perfect childhood, God bless you. It's a miracle. But you're still not. You still have societal triggers or pet peeve triggers or this, that, and the other thing. And sometimes it's not about the trigger. It's about your response. It's about, like you were articulating, it's not about the indulgence of the trigger.
Right.
Right? Because the more
Right. That's the key. We
Mhm.
indulge our triggers, and we've got
Right.
to acknowledge that that's what we're doing, Lori. We
Which
have
is
to
what keeps
acknowledge
them.
that.
Which is what
Yes.
keeps them.
And I think sometimes we secretly like them. We secretly like getting triggered, and we like
Mm,
indulging in them. I mean, so on a subconscious level, and we
mm,
don't realize that maybe we're feeding that. We have to
mm.
be willing, like you just said, to resist that, walk away from it. In that moment, go, nope, I feel it coming. I am not doing this today. That is not the person I'm going to be today. I
Well, that's
refuse.
another good one, Sarah. In 2026, maybe some folks out there can just um, control the trigger, right? Like just do not indulge in the triggers.
Right.
Try a new reaction towards it.
Yes.
Try a new reaction. Try
Try
deep
a no
breathing.
reaction. Oh my
Try no
goodness.
reaction.
Can we try
Exactly.
to stop reacting to every single thing?
So
Now we have
much.
videos on, the shorts and the reels and all the things. It's like reaction videos, and they'll play somebody else's video and they'll do their reaction to it. And they all go viral. And there's nothing wrong
It's
with that. But
so
I'm just saying,
phony,
like,
though. I
the
can't
word
take it.
reaction. Yeah,
Oh
we
my
we
God.
have to react to everything. How about trying, like, to go a day without reacting? Just as an experiment, to see, like, how we as human beings can actually just take a moment and breathe, and, like, can we go through a whole day without reacting? I'm not saying you don't ever react in life, because we have emotions and we're supposed to use them, but I'm
Right.
saying, as an experiment, could we just go a day without reacting and feel the difference, I think, in our nervous system, and maybe just in how we're approaching things, that we're so reactive
So
to
much.
everything
We're
that's
like nuclear
happening.
reactors over here.
And
And
sometimes it's
Sarah,
positive. Sometimes it's like,
yeah,
we're like laughing at everything, and we're like jumping up, and we're going, and then sometimes it's anger, and sometimes it's sadness, and sometimes it's just frustration. It's all kinds of things, but we're
mhm.
reacting to everything, and it's almost like an out of control emotional state in society. I mean, it's just, we're seeing it so much.
Which
I
is
don't know.
sort of on
I feel like
par
we're off
with.
topic.
Well, this is like a new year. Like, listen, we're just trying to throw in some things that we want to feel strongly
Yes.
about, contributing to ourselves and our families. And if this resonates for anybody, or maybe it gives some people some idea hacks or something, but otherwise it's our podcast and we're just talking because we can. But Sarah, getting back to what you were saying about the okay, because I had it, the backwards thing, and not being, not for everybody. We're backing up a little bit here, but not being for everybody. Listen, Sarah, there's versions of myself that they're not for me. Like,
Oh, same.
I'm not even
Oh,
for me. All right. And that's
yeah.
that's a real thing to pontificate over, because if you're busy stewing over things like regret or abuse or hurt or this, that, or the other thing, or you didn't like the person you were through a certain era of time, and you feel like that slowed you down, and you think about that way too much, which is quite frankly now still slowing you down, and you're not even the same person as
Yeah.
that person was. You're stuck over something that's been there, done it, but it's not even the same set of life experiences and emotional maturity or anything that was back then, right? So not only is there no fixing what happened backwards, there's lessons. And this is what we just got to shift that perspective and focus to. The rearview mirror should be all about coming away with a perspective that's fresh, or a lesson about, I'm not doing that again. And frankly, I'm not that person anymore either. So I don't even know why I'm giving it this much thought all the time,
Right.
And I think that keeps people stuck so much. And it's just, there's not one single solitary positivity point that can come out of that.
The rearview mirror is there to remind you how far you've come and where you
Right.
are now. It's not for you to relive all over again, and I think when we can separate that, we'll do a lot better. It's like, use the rearview mirror to say, look how far I've come. It's like when when you look at the GPS or whatever, when you're on a big road trip and you're like, you've been counting down the hours, it's an 8-hour trip and you've gone 6 hours, you've got 2 hours left. Like you feel like you're almost there. And we've already been 6 hours. We're getting there. We're getting there. The rearview mirror should be this thing of, look what I've survived. Look what I've come through. Look where I've been. All the lessons that I've learned, all the wisdom that I have gained, right? The rearview mirror can be a positive tool, even if it's full of ghosts and demons and skeletons that are horrible. The rearview mirror is a tool to remind you how you got here, right?
Yeah.
And then where you are now, you're looking toward that destination of where you want to be, so you continue to climb that mountain to get there, right?
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
that's how we have to look at it. But I think,
Yeah.
like you said, we're kind of living in the rearview mirror as though we're still in it.
Correct. And I think the new year, leads as much, I think it's important it's a good time to take stock of the positive things. We don't need to be reminded of bad things that happened, but we
Right.
forget to include little wins.
Yes.
We forget to include our own character development, our new friends, even if it's new, but it was exciting and you're excited about a new person, even if it's a new person at work that you suddenly started chatting one day and you never had before. And now you got a new reason at work that you feel like, why don't we take more accountings of all that, And sometimes that's where I think your blueprint for going into a new year comes from, is taking stock of some of those wins, those little wins. And you go, you know what? More of that. You know what I mean? I don't need to keep reinventing myself every year. No. How about if I just keep banking on some of the things that I did right, some of the things that went well, and then some of the things that I'm like, I learned my behavior was not great in that situation. Don't really want to do it that way again. And we're moving on, but just to take that stock, I think that's so important in going forward, is to kind of give yourself some pats on the back, as well as find the lessons, and then don't do them again,
Right. Teach them to others if you have the opportunity, but live in today, because we're not promised tomorrow and we don't
100%.
know if tomorrow will even come. And so while it's okay to make some plans for the future in case tomorrow does come, but I think we need to put more emphasis in each day, the now, each hour, each moment that we're living. Because if this was our last moment, Lori, well, I'm glad right now that we're doing something, even though if this was our last moment, no one will ever hear this cast. We're at least exploring this together, and we're spending this time together, and it's we're having a really powerful, really engaging conversation that's beneficial to both of us. All of those opportunities to like spend that extra 5 minutes, with your spouse, or that extra long hug that your kid wants, even though you're super busy and you got 5 million things going on, like whatever it is, living in the moment and making the most of it. We hear people say that all the time, make the most of each day, but not in that kind of way, not in some kind of cliche, sort of commercially sort of way, but just in the day to day. Are we living to our fullest? Are we making the most of our potential for each day? And I think it's very, very easy to get caught up in the mundane. And I find this myself too. Like I'm a routine girl, Lori. And so every day has its routine. It has, get up, do this, do this, do this. You go through the motions, you go through each day. It's not that I'm not engaged in the day. It's not that I don't have fun moments with my family and friends and things, but it's very easy to really run life like that, I think. And I think if we can maybe stop and find what are some things we can do each day that we haven't been doing? What are goals that we have that we can add like a work in each day towards those goals,
Yeah,
And
because how do
yeah.
we know that our locked in routine isn't the perfect winning recipe? How do we know if we never change around some things from time to time and that there isn't a better strategy that actually ends up getting us farther? This is what I mean about like it's easy to become sort of legalistic about how you treat your day. And
Mhm.
if you don't have that, then it'll go off the rails if it didn't go down like it was listed. And I don't know. I've just I have a etch a sketch kind of daily thing. You know what I'm
I
saying?
like it.
Yeah, like
Did
I
you
like
know that was one of my favorite toys as a kid?
oh, I spent hours on those things.
Me too. Oh my word. It came with it when we went on road trips like went on vacations and stuff. Always had my etch a sketch.
Yeah, I
Oh
got
man.
really annoyed though at some point that it didn't curve. I just
Oh.
I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be an architect over here, but I'm not going to be any Lloyd Wright because I can't get too crazy.
Oh man,
No,
leave
I
a
did. I
comment
loved
for
them.
us if you remember the Etch a Sketch. I don't even know if
I
they
think
still
they
make
make them
them.
again.
They make them? Oh
I think
man.
so. I've seen mini ones, like I've seen them for like
Yes.
keychains and stuff, but that which makes me think they're still being made. But
Well, let us know. Shout out to us on any of our platforms and forums and things. If you had an Etch a Sketch as a child, if you loved the Etch a Sketch, what you thought about it, yeah, just let us know.
well, because the Etch a Sketch, like you're on to something, right? You're on to something. Are we having? Wait a minute. Are we birthing an Etch a Sketch metaphors now? But
Oh man.
like a schedule, you're on to it, right? And you like what you got going on, so you like to continue that
It's
because
comfortable.
it's looking good,
Yeah, it's
and
comfortable and it's easy because you don't have to think more.
and
Like you
it's
can just
yeah.
get into a flow and a rhythm and it just let the wave carry you,
But
right?
no, listen, but with the Etch a Sketch though, if somebody takes a curve too fast, if you're doing it in the car, the sand comes in and it blows a
Yeah.
certain amount of columns you had going or whatever.
Yes,
And
yes.
I feel like just having a day that kind of has that in mind, or that just works for me. Although I'm trying to because right now I'm trying to set a new work schedule because I juggle, looking after my father. So I'm having to lock down. I'm trying a new thing with trying to lock down into a little bit more of a schedule. But here's the thing, as soon as the spring comes again, I'll have to change my schedule again.
Yeah.
I can never get too locked in. And so it's just best that I'm a sort of person who doesn't get overly dramatic about not being on my schedule. Because I don't know, I've been self-employed for so many years and just every day looks different. I just had to be able to adapt and pivot on a daily. And I would have a list because I like to make lists.
I'm a
Only because
list girl.
only because I like checking things off.
Me too. I like
But
crossing it out. Like it's done.
you're right, but I don't get attached to that. I know that a lot of things are going to carried into next week that I've got on today's list. You know what I'm saying? And I just had to make peace with that, because
Yeah.
I fell into the kind of was making the list my slave at one point when I was juggling being a new mom and a company
Mhm.
and all that. It's easy to fall into that, but I found that I was missing moments that way. And because
Yeah.
I was racing for the list, which made me just not notice as much. It made everything so much
Right.
more stringent in my schedule. So that astringent schedules make for very little room for spontaneous noticings of joy.
Right. Or bringing in things that you want to do. Cause I think the list and the routine and the schedule sometimes makes you feel like you don't have time to do these other things that you want to do. And it's like, okay, well, you have to make time for that. If that's something you really enjoy, maybe, I don't know, whatever. I'm just going to go with what's in my world as an example, and everybody insert your own, real world examples here. But like, maybe if I really have a book that I want to sit down and read, and like, I don't have time to read right now or whatever, maybe I don't mop the floor that day. Maybe I don't do that
Say,
extra load of
listen,
laundry. Maybe, whatever the thing is, maybe, maybe I don't do my workout that day. Like, I am
exactly.
not, it's gonna be okay. Like you say, Lori, it's gonna be
It's
fine.
going to
It's
be fine. And
fine, right? And
it's
so
so fine.
do
It's
you
probably
wanna
meant to be.
yeah,
Okay. That could have
exactly.
been the day you hurt yourself.
Well,
Listen,
it's true.
and if there's a
Yeah.
laugh hike, that's the new word for life hack is a
A
laugh
laugh
hike.
hike. I wanna take a laugh hike.
I do too.
That sounds
It
fantastic.
sounds like a good life hack. But if you're listen, for anybody, those mundane household things, stop it. That
Yeah.
comes off easy. If you're so and just so locked into Tuesdays has to be floor days, stop.
Oh my
I'm
word. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
begging you. This is nothing that's going to be on any tombstone. She kept a good house is never going to be on there. It might be something your family laughs about because you were so, you know, religious about it, but
Right.
it's not what makes you, it's not what makes your life, and I'm not advocating for a really messy place. I'm just saying that no one cares.
Right. If somebody comes
Ultimately,
over and your house is a little disheveled, they don't care as much as you do. I am
no,
promising you that.
100%.
As a neat freak myself, as someone who is very like germaphobe, perfectionist, all the things, right? I don't really pay attention unless somebody's like an all out hoarder, or there's literal dirt everywhere or something. Like, then you notice it and you're like, whoa, where am I at? But like, generally when I go over to somebody's house, I don't care and I don't notice any of that stuff. I'm just glad to be at their home. And frankly, if their house is a little messy, it just makes me feel better about my own sometimes, but like, I care it when it's my house. And so I don't want people to, back to the hospitality thing that we always talk about, I don't want people to miss out on having people into their home because they haven't been to the grocery store in 2 weeks, and their house is a mess, and they're wearing sweatpants and a stained t-shirt, and they feel like, I can't have Susie over for coffee because look, I don't even have enough coffee. I barely have any tea. I've got milk and water. Well, maybe Susie will drink a cup of milk with you and have a conversation, or just a glass of water. Like, don't miss out on hospitality and having people into your home, and sharing moments with people that are meaningful in your life, because of all of these other stressors that at the end of the day don't matter. And when life is over, it's not going to matter if my house was clean. It is
No,
not going to matter if I,
you know,
like, fill in the blank, not just clean houses, but like fill in the blank with whatever is taking priority in your life, whatever is taking time out of your life. I will just say, your career at the end, when it's all over and said and done, your career is not going to matter. So
no.
anything that we're doing that's taking priority over the enjoyment of life and the people in our lives, we have got to take a step back and really analyze that. Is that how you want to go out?
Ain't
Sorry,
nothing
I'll
coming
I'll
with
I'll
us.
shut up now, Lori.
Ain't nothing coming with us. The neatness or the mess.
Yeah,
Nothing's coming with us. Ain't no job coming with us. Ain't no money. No,
yeah,
nothing. Okay. And again, we're robbing ourselves of more and more, I think, for spontaneity and drop bys and, just getting out of routine once in a while. Oh, God forbid, you go and have lunch with a friend. Oh, I never have lunch, you know, because everybody's trying to premeditated Instagram posts,
yeah.
life isn't like that, and the farther away you get from being off of that, the more you get back in touch with what life really does look like. And it's a lot more beautiful, and it's a lot more entertaining, and it's a lot more, funny. and all of that, all this staged stuff can bring a hee, but there's nothing like just raw finding something funny in your day, and not comparing it to anything else. I'm really tired of people staging things that we're supposed to laugh at. I'm really annoyed by it. This is like the new version of the laugh tracks that they used to have on
Oh,
all the
was it
shows.
like a canned laughter?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's like people are making reels going, we're going to
Yes.
stage this to be funny, And it's like, well, sometimes it might be kind of funny, but the fact that it's staged makes it less funny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even in this crazy world of social media and content creators and all that, it's getting watered down because it's premeditated. You know what I'm saying? That's why, maybe that's just me. I don't like jokes as much as I like just wit and puns or something that just came through a fluid conversation or something
Right.
that just happened. That's what's really funny to me, not all this, and I don't know. Am I wrong here? I feel like we just need to strip it all back a little bit because we're going to have
We're trying too hard. We're trying too hard to be
we
liked and
are to
accepted
do
and
everything.
to be in the pool of trends. And what makes life interesting and what makes all of us unique is our own individual, personalities and our uniqueness. And we need to own that. We'd need to just be proud of. I know we don't try hard not to use the word proud, but we need to be comfortable with who we are and that beautiful, person that we are, each individual. And so if you have a quirky sense of humor, or if you're a little silly, or if you're a little awkward, or you're a little whatever, own it, embrace it. It's beautiful. And we don't have to fit in with all the trends and try to force ourselves into a slot that we don't fit into.
Trying too hard. I
Yeah.
think, maybe that's a good life hack for 2026. Try less hard on everything except noticing more.
Be natural.
Yeah, just sit with yourself and just enjoy who you are and the people you've collected in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure
the way you laugh with your best friend, the way that you interact with the person that you're closest to, the person that you don't put any walls up around, that you're completely, inhibited to, be that person. Maybe, don't go out in the grocery store and, but I mean, be that person in life, that true, authentic person that you are. Be that person. Don't
whoever it
put
is
on a mask for different situations. We do that. It's a defensive mechanism, right? It's a protective thing. And I think though that puts up walls with people, and it makes it hard for people to get close to us, to get to know us. It makes it hard and so if we're ever sitting around wondering, well, why does this person not like me? Or why am I having trouble, over here, over there? It's maybe we've put up walls that we don't realize we've put up. Maybe we are too cautious around people when what we really just need to be doing is embracing people, right? I think it's you can be defensive to your own detriment. And I think there's a time to protect yourself and set boundaries. We've talked about that. But I also think that sometimes we're putting on too many masks, and we're being too defensive. And what we're doing is we're building walls around ourselves. And that's a form of isolation. And whether we mean to or not, it's going to affect, how we interact with people and the relationships in our lives. And we might be missing out on some really important relationships.
Listen, Sarah, that's absolutely the thing. And at some point it's just like we're just way over focused on ourselves, in those ways, instead of the good ways, It's always the critical or the scared or the fearful or the I don't fit in or it's always the negative thing. I have anxiety. I have this. I have that. I'm this. Oh my God, I'm overweight. I'm this. Come on. What are we doing right now? What is actually happening right now with that? Because you can't, you're never going to fully shine if you're obsessed and just stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think It's a Wonderful Life is something I look forward to at Christmas time uh, so much. And and I cry at the same time, at the same place, you know, but the whole overreaching thing, and Dickens, Christmas Carol, same thing. The whole deal about we are affecting people, and we don't give ourselves any credit for that, you know? And it's just like, well, if you think you're worthless or invisible or this or that, you might have friends who just miss you. You know,
Mhm.
you can be affecting people by just never coming out.
That is so true.
Everything makes a difference. Like every person's not here as an accident. Every person is here 100% on purpose. So if you're not living your on purpose life and you're just kind of really stuck, or you're closed off, or you're this or that, or you're buying into labels and you don't even know who you are and this and that, you're affecting so much. You're affecting people that do love you and they just can't get through to you, to be not so hard on yourself, and that brings them down and it makes them worry, and you're affecting people who don't even know you yet, and you have the magic thing to say to that person. You're affecting the vibes of the places you do go and don't say anything. You're still adding to that frequency there. You are affecting things.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got to get off the self-loathing full-time job of under the microscoping ourselves just with the negative lens. It's tiresome.
Mhm.
100% getting tiresome. And we are in the age of fake, whether it's deep or not. It's not deep at all. Fake is fake. We're in is that
Fake
real?
is baked. Sorry.
And I will die on this sword that more you, less unreal is exactly the antidote to this. And people's lives will improve by not being afraid of this AI stuff, but at the same time, just like not turning into it. I mean, the amount of time people are spending now trying to analyze if a picture's real, a video is real, I assume none of it's real. It just keeps me not to spend too much time speculating on it. Because if it's something I'm supposed to know about, I'll know if it's real or not. This weird point of view, I get that. But honestly, kind of spending time over everybody's word. Was it the right word they should have used? Is that a real picture? This is where we're at.
Oh my word.
The scrutiny
Um,
is severe.
yes.
We're spending all of our lives scrutinizing instead of creating, or embellishing or enjoying. We're in all like scrutinizing mode from your fellow people. What did you mean when you said that? To stuff on the
Oh gosh, the
internet, to
comments section of
comment sections,
oh
which
my
which
word.
2/3 of them are bots, or they're organizations who are literally paying people to come in with the hate comments so that the hate comments look higher than everybody's weighing everything on these non-existent scales of, oh, this guy got dragged through the mud. Did you see the comments? Okay, yeah, because most of the comments were negative. Now people are starting to judge their own points of view on that and holding back from what they
Uh-huh.
want to post. And listen, can we just here 2026, everybody just keep real. Just keep yourself real.
Yeah.
Keep yourself real. It's the only thing that's real.
Right, right.
Why you want to give that up? You know, I I'm just I just feel like we're just living in a three-ring circus right now. And honestly, it's tiresome.
It is.
I go through periods where I just feel really weary and heavy for it. And then I just kind of come into sort of I can't with it right now.
Right.
And I just not even paying any, barely trying to pay attention. And then I go through swings where I'm kind of in that swing right now where it's just like, I think it's funny because it's so outrageous. All right. And not necessarily funny and, oh, that was a bad thing that happened, but funny in the responses and funny in the time people are wasting and that and just like it's a we talked about this in the grief episode. It is a survival mechanism. All right.
Yeah.
So that counterbalances the heaviness I can get stuck in if I'm not careful
Oh
to all
yeah.
of it. And it's
Yeah.
all stuff I can't do anything about. And no comment on any social media is going to revolutionize
Right.
changing people's minds, moving the needle of freedom, liberty, good laws, taking away stupid ones. None of it. None of it.
Well,
So
and how
don't.
about don't comment if it's not something that you would say to someone, to anyone in person, if it's not something that you would actually say, I think, I think we need to get away from like, if you're going to leave a comment, it needs to be something that you would be comfortable standing in front of the person saying to their face,
Mm-hmm,
because it is way easier to leave a
mm-hmm,
comment sometimes than not. And, I think that's part of being real. And also if there is a comment that you're really wanting to leave, but you're not putting a comment down or you're not saying something to someone because you're afraid of what other people will think or you just don't want to put yourself out there. That's the other side of that too. I mean, I think be real. Like, what is you? Are you the person that would leave this comment and that would say it to somebody's face? Is that comment not really you, but you're just wanting to put like whatever? And I think it's just like just do what's right, but do what comes natural. Don't force something and don't do something because you're hiding, behind a keyboard that you wouldn't do out in public. Because I hate to tell people this, social media is public. It's a public forum. So if you wouldn't do it, if you wouldn't talk like that, if you're out and about or you're with your family or you're whatever, like why are you doing it online? I think it's
mm-hmm.
it's just we see so much. It's
People are
garbage.
confused, Sarah, very, very, very confused that social media is a productive tool. And it can be, but that's
Mm.
by and large not how it's being used.
Right, it's how it's utilized, and if it's being utilized in a lot of
It's
really
selling things.
crappy
Um,
ways.
yeah, it's selling product and it's maybe
Mhm.
letting people know that there's voices out there that they can stream or subscribe to or whatever. And, so it is a marketing tool. But outside of that, it's garbage. It's absolutely garbage that's owned
Yeah.
by Al Gore's Rhythm.
Yeah.
And listen, he ain't
Algorithm.
Al's Al Gore's
Al's
Rhythm.
gory with Al's gory rhythm.
That dude ain't
Oh
got no
my
rhythm.
word.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he ain't got no rhythm.
He ain't got no rhythm. Oh man.
But no, honestly though, I feel strongly like maybe we're just well, having a podcast, Sarah. How many times have you um, held back for fear of if the wrong ears hear it? And I like that because like once you are a content creator, it's real easy to even kind of zoom into that even closer. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want this to come out to me. Oh, people are going to think I'm a right winger. Oh, people are going to think I'm a left winger. Oh, people are going to think I hate Trump. Oh, people are going to think I like. Listen, oh, if you talk about God, we're going to lose somebody. If we don't talk about God, we're going to lose. I mean, how many times has it crossed your mind?
Oh, absolutely. Many times. And this is a really good subject to get on, Lori, because that's one of the things. Some of the most successful platforms are the ones that are the most authentic, where people are just honest. And I mean authenticity in that honesty with the audience. And that's what people resonate with, not like trying to ride a line or skirt a topic or trying to please everybody. Like you can be open to a broad audience, but you still have to be honest. And you don't get to choose who listens to you and who doesn't. You let them decide for themselves. Your audience will decide who your audience is, right? And I think so. Looking back on our show, and I've hosted several podcasts, but I'll just speak about ours because we've talked about this before. And early on in our cast, because it's not our cast is not religious, right? Like it's just we're not in that space. Like
Mhm,
things might come up, but we're not a Bible study podcast. Okay.
mhm.
So, earlier on in our podcast, I did try to skirt some of that sometimes because I was like, well, I'm not sure who all is listening. And I really, and I always felt bad about it. And it wasn't that I was trying to like deny anything or not be forthright, but it was like, well, that's not really what the topic's about, or that's not really what we're talking about. Like, I don't need to bring that in, or, and your son, so when Ethan was on the show, I think he was the first person ever on our show to just straight out come out with it and talk about God. And I was like, okay, this needed to, like, I almost felt like God was using that moment to like say, hey, this is a forum. This is, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Because the whole time I'm feeling like I really, there's so many times I've not said something that I wanted to say because it had a religious aspect to it, right? And ever since then, I have more and more and more. I just very openly talk. I talk to you on the show how I would talk to you in real life. Like, this is still real life, but you know what I mean? Like, how I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
talk to you off the mic, how I would
yeah.
talk to anyone. And I'm if we have any longtime listeners, you've probably noticed a difference on the show, and that we do talk about it more because spirituality and Christianity is a daily part of my life. It is who I am. I can't separate myself from that. So why would I separate that from anything that I am involved in, any venture that I'm, any podcast, any ongoings in my life? Why would I separate, or why would I hold back any of that? That doesn't even make sense. It's not honest and it's not authentic. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely, I'm so thankful to Ethan for that day on the show. We did a generations show, and it was like that nudge that I needed to say, hey, it is okay to be completely, to just be completely yourself, and that don't hold back.
Mhm.
Speak what's on your heart and what's in your mind. And if somebody doesn't agree, like, we're all adults, most of the part, I guess, listening to the show. I mean, I'm sure we probably have some teenagers listening, but whoever's listening to the show, they can decide if they like it, if they don't like it. I listen to things I disagree with all the time. Like, but what you're talking about is the self-censoring, because we're afraid, like, we want to appeal to this, or we don't want to offend this, or we don't want to turn this person off, or we want to make sure that this, gets heard, or whatever the thing is. Like, we're constantly in our heads
Mhm.
instead of just being in that moment with the people that we're engaged with, being honest, being truthful, and being ourselves. And that's what we need more of. Is not this censorship, this self-censoring of, I have to be this way over here, and then I can be this way over here. And that's like the mask thing that I was talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Where it's it sucks. It's awful. I don't know what else to
Yeah.
say about it, right? Like, we've got to move away from that. And I think we all do it to some degree. And I think it comes from a good place, but I think that it is detrimental in some ways to how we relate to each other. And if I want my audience on this podcast or any other podcast to get to know me, to relate to me, to resonate with me, I have to be honest
Right.
completely. I have to be myself, in its entirety. And I can't hold back, because then that's not truthful.
Well, I think that's the space we occupy, Sarah. And it was a gradual. It's gotten gradually more so because there's, I don't know who. Some people wouldn't be concerned about it at all, I think, but for the types of people you and I are, I know a lot of it crossed our mind, and not just from believing, but also just from, we wanted to be very careful too about, headline chasing and
Right.
falling into that thing that we didn't really want to be either. The only time we jump on that is when we got serious questions, and when there's
Coming
serious
soon.
things that we really, really feel like need an hour or two of conversation to try and work through some of this muck, and some of these things that we need to be aware of, and things that hopefully at least help, people ask more questions. If there's
Yeah.
anything missing in this world, it's just authentic question asking. Well, we're going to get down to that word authentic again, but not to beat it up, but it's kind of true, isn't it? I mean, people don't ask things for fear of even asking a question. And,
Yeah.
but I know I went through that. The mic is a certain responsibility to an
Yeah.
unknown audience. I mean,
Yeah.
we still don't know who's listening on any
Right.
given
Right.
podcast. We don't know who's listening.
Hello
You know,
out there.
how you doing?
How you doing?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's the truth though. We still don't know. And
Yeah.
until we start getting hate comments or love comments or this, that, and the other thing, I mean, we're just over here in
Yeah.
our own little world. As far as I'm concerned, Sarah and I keep our friendship alive through this. And we've expanded our friendship through this because we don't have each
Yeah.
other in proximity anymore. And we're just authentically having our time together. But we realize when we turn on microphones, we really want to say at least a few things that might resonate with somebody else out
Yeah.
there and be encouragers. And of
Yes.
course, for that to actually happen, we have to set an example to our own level of value and shortcomings and all the things that we are just as two women here turning on microphones. I can tell you a whole bunch of stuff about what this podcast is not, but what this podcast is a lot to do with who heard what when. And that's the kind of podcast it was to them. And because we change up our topics and things a lot, I feel like we're never stuck in some sort of we're just two bronze with a lot of questions and a lot of research and a lot of love. We're just trying to, for posterity, have these podcasts that, maybe on some days there's somebody's friend, and that's kind of what our intention has been about it. But Sarah, I got to say, I feel like we have grown more and more into being more. I don't think we started out inauthentic, but I think we're adding new layers to who we are.
I think it's about what you hold back. Like, I think for me, and I'll just speak for myself, I probably held back more in the beginning, and I'm more comfortable now just saying what's on my mind, what's on my heart, and not holding back for the sake of who doesn't need to hear this, or who it's like,
or who agrees with it.
I had to stop thinking about the audience. I love the audience. I love all of you out there, whoever's listening, but I had to stop because, first of all, I don't know, even if we had a list of names of everyone that's listening, I don't know each of them individually to know them well enough. And that's not fair to the audience. That's not fair to anyone who's listening. If I hold back because of what am I trying to protect somebody from something, like, that makes zero sense. Right. So I think just being yourself and saying what's on your heart and on your mind and being there in the moment, I think is so important. And I think that's what makes great podcasts work, because when you try to curate it, and script it and like just tweak it and mold it to be a certain thing, that's when it really becomes this kind of you can't relate to. It's unrelatable, whatever this, statue or like sculpture or so. And it's
right.
You might go, oh, that was kind of entertaining, or that was kind of fun. Oh, I enjoyed listening to that. But it's not the thing that you go, yes, you're not like sitting there talking back to it and sharing it to your friends and going, oh my word, I needed this today. Or, oh, you've got to listen to this. Or, yes, that's what I'm saying. And I think that's what we need more of. There's a lot of podcasts out there like that. We need to keep these going, where it is people just coming together and discussing things and being real and honest and present, right? Like, there's, like you said, there's so much facade on the internet and in the world. And you could go to a dinner party and get a lot of fake, because people just have so many masks and walls up, and it's time to remove those, because we don't progress as people. We love that word on the show, by the way. We kind of mock the word progress, but we don't progress as people when we're in that state. we have to, and by the way, we've had an episode on pride. I will just go out and say this, that true honesty, right, goes with humility. And the opposite of that, all the masks and all the, inauthentic things like trying to be something or put yourself in slide yourself into a box that you're not, all of that, that goes in the pride category. And
Mhm.
so, it goes back into the looking inward and focusing on self and
Mhm.
being sort of just self amplified. It's very gratuitous. And so we have to be careful about that, because authenticity and honesty and integrity and these things, being real, it leans into that humility, that humble category. And I think that's a really beautiful place to be, because pride leads to a great deal of hubris. And I see so much out of control hubris in the world today, Lori, that it's scary. It scares me. It concerns me. And frankly, it makes me sick.
100%.
So
It's
we just
gross.
have to be careful. All right. I don't know. I'm on some kind of like off the
Well, no, I
rails.
think, we're starting a new year with the cast too. And I mean, we're coming up, well, our 4-year will be, more in the summer, but, going into this year, I'm just reflecting a little bit about the cast as well. And I just, again, want to say we show up because we want to. We're not showing up for the money. We're
Oh
not.
man, all those big bucks, 0 times 0. It's coming in monthly.
Listen, it's compounding daily. And Sarah,
I've never
listen,
seen so many zeros.
100%. And we are not showing up with anybody's, I'm not a sock puppet for anybody. And
No.
I'm surely going to say things that some people could listen and was like, "Oh, did she just diss my man, or she just make
Well,
fun of my role model, whatever." And it's like, well, so be it. But again, um, I think raw is what's missing.
yes, raw. Yes.
We cry up in here. Well, okay, I do. I listen. I get mad. I get kind of, I kind of get the passion starts to flow on some of these
Yeah.
topics. I'd like to say I'm not definitely trying new strategies with some of my triggers on this microphone sometimes, but it is what it is. This is what and I feel like there's space for us in a bigger way. It's not the word for word, topic for topic, week to week, what we talked about. We don't over scrutinize this over here. We're both just living lives, trying to authentically come in together and be passionate and hopefully be encouraging. We want to be those friends that on a long trip, we made you laugh or made you think about something. You didn't feel alone about something. It's just like, or you experienced that, or, you've come through that kind of abuse in your background, or whatever the thing is,
Yeah.
that's the space we're in, and from week to week, we don't know. I mean, I don't know who that rope's in. And I absolutely believe that's why this is we sit in a slower category, because people cannot define it. And, welcome to my world. Right. And it's easier to climb ladders when at least you can climb the ladder that has the label above it, and and you're in that category, and it's like, okay, well, we're going to be the best in that category. We ain't got no categories, sir. We ain't got a category. What do we call ourselves? I don't know. What's our category? Culture, human space. They didn't
Yes.
even have
Human experience. Yeah.
yeah, but those weren't things that we could check when we had to,
Yeah.
when you put out a podcast for Spotify and all that, you have to check
Mm-hmm.
boxes. And we're winging a couple of them because it's like, yeah, okay, sometimes. Yeah, okay, sometimes, but we did not fit totally into any one of those.
Right. And I like that. I think There's a time for the niches, and I've been a part of that space. I've
Yeah.
got a podcast that's about books and publishing and writing, and
Oh, I love
it's
it.
yeah, it's great to
Yeah,
have a niche space, but I love podcasts like ours, and there are others that it's not where you're not in just this like this specific genre, subgenre, niche space where this is what we're about. No, we're going to come each week and we're going to talk about the things that we think are important, what's on our mind, something that's happened, something that we've heard. We've got a great guest that's going to come on and talk about this. Like it's really a podcast about humanity and
it's
our
life.
lives,
Yeah,
yeah, and how we're all living. And it's there's so much, it's we are just your everyday human podcast. I
for
don't know,
sure.
and
Yeah. Sarah's
it
over there milking cows. I'm over here door dashing
yes.
right now. I mean, listen, it doesn't get any more real than this, but yet we're creators, Sarah and I, are, this is part of who we are is, we have to create things, and we love words, and we love writing, and we love, Sarah's an author, and, it's just part of who we are. This podcast is an extension of myself,
Yeah. Yeah, it's conversations with your two favorite broads, and we're gonna bring all the things that are on our hearts and minds, and we don't want to be held back by a genre of
And
of
Sarah, I just want to
casting.
thank you in this new year for showing up again and being willing to have conversations, which I just lack in my normal life. To have a lot of the
Mhm.
conversations I want to have, I don't have people around that want to have them.
Oh, wow.
Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm
No,
saying?
thank
And
you.
so that's just important that I love conversation.
Yeah, I do too, and because I love the feedback, right? And how, like, it's because I can wax philosophical all day in my own head, but like I love getting into conversations with people where the exchange of ideas grows my ideas. It helps me to look at things in
Exactly.
so many different ways, and that's why I think it's so important. It's a very reciprocal thing, and we all need to be just engaging in more and more conversation. And I'm sorry, the comment section does not count. You need to get out with people, actually talk to people and have conversations, because that there's just something that's the light, like, in society, that we don't want to go out,
It's
because
dimming.
yeah, this is what we've been built on, this exchange of ideas and news, and our exchange of fears and beliefs, and good news and joys, and all these things that we can exchange with each other in
Mhm.
written form, in oral form, in in a public forum, in a private forum. And I think that it's just so important that we don't lose that connection. The way that we connect with each other through our dialogue is imperative to who we are, and to continuing in a stable society and civilization. But we are losing that a lot, and we're losing our own words. If people are using AI to write things for them, we're
Mhm.
losing our own thoughts, our own ideas, and our own words to something that's not real. So back to the fake thing. So yeah, these kind of forums are so important, and I don't want to
Mhm.
lose that.
I don't either. So, for the new year, it's a lot, but it's just a continuation of the things I feel strongly about, that I'm going to stay as absolutely far away from the modern culture as possible. I will take what's useful and spit out the rest. And I just want to hold on tight for the things that I know are extremely important
Mm-hmm.
for everybody. And I just want to try and live out how, my fantasy of what I think a good life looks like, devoid of the money topics, or the degrees, or the this or the that. Just what's a good life rollout look like? You having a laugh, you having a good time, you having good conversation, You get to share your points of view. Do you have somebody to cry on, laugh with? We're in the raw life space, Sarah, and
There you
I'm
go. I like it.
happy to try and do another year with you. So,
Absolutely. And to our audience, anyone and everyone who is listening or has been listening, or if you just found us, thank you so much. We're starting the new year off because of you, because we're having these conversations with you, even though we can't hear you while we're casting here. And we consider you a part of the conversation, and we're very thankful and blessed that you take the time to listen to us.
absolutely. Thanks for mentioning, Sarah. We don't know your names, but we do love you. And
Yep.
that's the truth. That might sound hokey, and we're those two hokey broads.
There
Okay.
you go.
Sarah,
Loopy and hokey.
any closing comments on this new year we're just kind of setting the pace here, I think, just
Oh,
kind of
man.
bringing it back in after being away from the mics for a week. And just kind of,
Yeah.
just wanting to have a conversation and a catch up. But you have any last thoughts?
Just go into it with a smile. Go into it with, if it doesn't work out today, if we are fortunate enough to have tomorrow, we'll try it again, and just try not to be discouraged in the little things. You've got to find hope. You've got to find a reason to have hope. And I know where my hope comes from, but I'm wishing hope to everyone out there, because I don't know how people can live without hope, and it is essential. And so just start with a smile on your face, and just keep getting up every day and putting, one foot in front of the other. That's what we got to do.
That's it, Sarah. Very well. And, listen, hug more, laugh more, let your hearts not be so troubled. Find us on the socials, sign up for our email to broadcasters@gmail.com. Send us your email address, pipe in, chime in, whatever, or not. We're going to show up next week, and we love you all. Be good to yourselves. Happy New Year.